Donald Trump now seems incredibly desperate for this war in Iran to end. And he's going out publicly stating that America supposedly already won this war. Not sure which metric he's using to determine that America won, but apparently the United States has won this war in Iran and it's time to go. As if there was ever a reason to be there to begin with. But apparently now he's comfortable enough that it's time to go. So let's take a listen to this and let's talk about it. Take a listen.
Big, powerful power plant. They can't do a thing about it. It's like, take me. That's all they can do. And yet, if you read the New York Times or if you watch ABC fake news or NBC fake news, you'd say it's a close battle. It's not a close battle. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force.
I just have to stop there. Here's the thing. At what point did the metric to determine whether or not we won this war be based on how much of their military assets we took out? Here's the thing. How much of their military assets we took out that were never a threat to us? We were bombing military assets, spending billions of dollars bombing military assets that weren't a threat to us. So, which means that it was totally unnecessary and there was no U.S. interest in doing this war. Who cares if we bomb military assets? They're not a threat to us. They're a threat to one country, Israel. So the only reason we started this war is for one country, Israel. Not a threat to us, again, whatsoever. But not only did we not win, because there's no metric to base that off of, unless you want to base it off of how many military assets we took out, and still they have a lot. They have a lot. So it doesn't seem like that's working out so well either. But separate from that, we just basically, what we did is installed a more hardliner, younger leader, and we murdered his entire family, which means he's very angry now, and he wants nothing to do with the United States. Donald Trump is stating publicly that the Iranians are negotiating with him now, but the Iranians are going out publicly and stating, well, actually, the truth of the matter is that we're not actually negotiating with the United States whatsoever. That's total fake news. So Trump is stating, yeah, we are negotiating. The Iranians are stating it's fake news. And this is where we're at. And meanwhile, we're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars as we do this. So let's take a little bit more of a listen here and let's talk about it.
And they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it. For instance, if I want to take down that power plant, that very big, powerful power plant, they can't do a thing about it. It's like, take me. That's all they can do. And yet, if you read the New York Times or if you watch ABC fake news or NBC fake news, you'd say it's a close battle.
There we go. As if we can bomb their power plant and it's completely fine, even though they can also just bomb power plants and they can bomb oil refineries across the region, which they've been doing. And it seems like they're doing it just fine as well. I mean, we're seeing airstrikes rain down on Israel. Isn't that a surprise? And it seems like it's working out, and they're going right through. The Iron Dome doesn't seem to be working out when it's when it's hypersonic missiles now, does it? No. So let me go ahead and play another clip. It's basically another part, it seems like, of this interview when he says that the war's been won because Iran stated that they're not going to develop a nuclear weapon. I think this is one of the most funny parts of this entire press conference he gave, and I'll explain why in a second. But take a listen.
What was the turning point to make you want to pursue a ceasefire? A few days ago, you said you wanted to continue bombing Iran. Now you want to pursue peace talks. Was there something that happened?
The fact that they're talking to us and they're talking sense. And remember, it all starts with they cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said yesterday, they said, what are the top 10? I said, well, number 1, 2, and 3 is they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And we're talking about that. And I don't want to say in advance, but they've agreed.
So I'm going to stop right there for a sec. Well, actually, just 4 more seconds. So let's just go ahead and play it, actually.
They will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
How do you ensure they won't have a nuclear weapon?
So I mean, there you go. Here's the thing, guys. What he ignores is telling you that they already stated they weren't going to develop a nuclear weapon before we decided to go into an unnecessary war wasting billions of dollars. He's repeating what they already told him they weren't going to do prior. And now he's repeating it as if that's something that was newly achieved. They already stated they weren't building one. And guess what? They're still never going to change on their two main red lines, which is they're going to keep enriching uranium, which is what they want to do, and they're not going to destroy the uranium they already have enriched. Both of which the United States says they must do now. For who? For the Israelis. So we're back to square one, except this time we hurt the United States. We spent lots and lots of money. And, aside from the money, and people really need to understand this, is that we have become very volatile in the eyes of U.S. allies. The United States looks very, very volatile when we're being thrown into wars, when U.S. allies are hearing U.S. officials say Israel dragged us into this war. The United States doesn't come off like a reliable partner when we're fighting unnecessary wars. When all rationale on the table says this is not a good idea, do not do this, this is not beneficial to U.S. interests. We don't look like a reliable partner, so it hurts our diplomacy. The costs of this war, the unnecessary lives that were killed, the unnecessary deaths that we've had because of this war, the whole thing's pointless. But guess what? The Israelis, over 80% of Israelis still believe that this war is the right move. So the Israelis are loving it. I mean, are you guys not seeing them? They're having parties in bomb shelters right now. So clearly they're loving it. They're loving it. They're throwing, they have techno music running in these bomb shelters. They're loving it. And they know that U.S. taxpayers are obviously paying for their war. So it's completely fine. And if boots on the ground, if boots have to be on the ground, well, guess what? It's not going to be Israeli boots either. It's going to be American boots. I think that would be a death trap. I doubt that would happen, but who's to say? Because we're not, rationale is not what's being used to determine the decisions that we make. Rationale is not what's being used at all. I think it's much more so blackmail, bribery, ego, emotion. All of that combined is what is driving the direction of U.S. foreign policy right now. Nothing to do with rationale, nothing to do with what's right for America. It's all based on blackmail, money, ego, power, all of it combined together and just put together, and that's where we're at right now. So, but, with Donald Trump, of course, he's never going to say that because his ego is so big. So he has to try to sell it off as if something good has been achieved. So, I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. And this is what drives me wild. All of this is happening. And clearly the Israelis seem completely fine because while this is all going on, the Israelis are still planning on doing a ground offensive into Lebanon. And we saw recently Lindsey Graham state that it's really important, the United States, Lindsey Graham calling on Donald Trump to join forces with Hezbollah into Lebanon. So clearly the Israelis are comfortable enough starting another ground invasion, which means this war with Iran is not taking away enough of their resources to stop them from invading Lebanon. So apparently they could do both things at once, yet it's the United States that has to worry about putting boots on the ground in Iran. Well, clearly, if the Israelis are planning to do a ground invasion into Lebanon, then it seems they can also handle boots on the ground in Iran. Why don't they go ahead and be the ones to do that? Why does it have to be the United States? Why is the thought that it's U.S. forces on the ground even a thing? That's the thing. Why is it even a thing? It's as if nobody questions it. It's not our war. But it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing that we have this little military project that it's on its last leg. It's on its way out. And we still are so subservient to it. We're truly slaves to this tiny ass military project in the Middle East that's on its last leg. And yet Americans still have to die for it overseas in an unnecessary war pushed by the Israelis. So, let's see. What else did I want to show you guys in relation to this clip? Do I have anything else? I already played that again, and then I just already commented stating that they agreed and they put us into this idiotic war. And also, Trump claims talk is ongoing. This was just like Al Jazeera. I was just also going through But like I said, Trump is claiming that talks are going, and while he's making these statements, Iranian officials are stating that it's fake news and there's no talks ongoing as well. So unless things change tomorrow, he put out this 15-point plan, and the 15-point plan, I scrolled through it. I scrolled through what the articles are stating about it, and it still says the main things that they said is automatic red lines, which is you can't enrich uranium, which is a red line that they already said that they will not allow that. And what's interesting is that you guys might remember Joe Kent's interview with Tucker Carlson where he stated, we told the Israeli, when we were negotiating with Iran, the red line's always been do not develop a nuclear weapon. It had nothing to do with enriching uranium. But the Israelis kept moving the goalposts as to what's acceptable. And then it became, you can't enrich uranium. And we moved the goalposts because we didn't want to actually have a peace deal with them. The Israelis didn't want to have a peace deal with us, so they kept shifting the goalposts. And then you would have talking heads like Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro talking about the shifting goalposts as if now it's the new expectation. And now, so we keep making it harder and harder to have a peace agreement because the Israelis don't want us to have peace. They want us to have continued war. That's the whole point of this all. That's the whole point of this all. There was also recently, let me see. I think I might have actually saved it as a bookmark because I did want to show it to you guys. It's directly related to this. And there was somebody, it was a UK official that was talking about this war, and he was talking about how the Israelis just really love this continued war, and the Israelis have an interest in keeping the war going as long as possible. Here we go. This is what I want to show you guys. Take a listen here. Let me go ahead and mute my mic so you don't hear an echo. Let me mute 1 second, and then I'll go ahead and play.
Of MI6, who said this war was described as an unnecessary war by a previous head of MI6, who said this is a completely unnecessary war. There were negotiations going on, and Jonathan Powell has confirmed this as well. So I think we just need to understand that Israel has a desire to keep this. They love forever wars, and this is the fundamental unsymmetry between Israel and the United States. The United States hates long wars, and Trump particularly, but Israel loves long wars. Just mowing the lawn is their way of doing business. Just go in there and kill more people. That just suits their aims absolutely. This war is described as
just go in there and kill more people. That suits Israel's aims absolutely. I mean, that's kind of the Israeli way of doing things. But ultimately, their biggest backer now is not, this is going to be the last war that America fights for Israel. That I feel pretty certain of. And hopefully it ends very, very soon here. And we ditch Israel and we never look back. So that's it for this video, guys. If you found it interesting, I'd really appreciate it if you just go ahead and click the subscribe button below and give it a thumbs up as well. Let me quickly go ahead and read through some of the comments over here. No disrespect, Wally, but I'll be sitting outside the US Embassy from tomorrow. Go for it. Enjoy yourself. More fiosity. I'm pronouncing that wrong. Let's see. The only real and not fake news is Trump mouth the real and truth news and statements. And our service members are not expendable. Absolutely agree, Polyphys MD. So that's it for this video, guys. I'm going to see you guys here in a little bit in the next video. Take care and have a great day.